And it looks like, as long as we're going, we are about to begin, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this, our special Veterans Day meeting of Arizonans for Safe Access. Thank you, veterans, for serving your country. My name is Kathy Inman. I'm the Executive Director of MomForce AZ. MomForce AZ is a non-profit organization for education and advocacy. We are an affiliate of Americans for Safe Access, which since 2002 has been the best source in America for medical cannabis information and education. Arizonans for Safe Access is our local action group. We are here to advance legal cannabis in Arizona. With just 1 year to go until Arizona votes whether or not to have legal access to cannabis, we have a lot of work to do, and we need every single one of you on board. Tonight, we celebrate and we salute our veterans and the veterans that have been victims of our drug war. We will be filming tonight. We'll be sending this to some of our local lawmakers, like Bill Montgomery and John McCain. We salute and we say Happy Veterans Day, sirs. But we have some great information for you, and we'd like you to have that, in case you miss it on YouTube. I began filming our meetings about 2 years ago, and I realized that they were watching when we were involved, and I'm very proud to have been on the Arizona's Veterans Assistance Committee that launched the Recall Ye. We tried to recall Kimberly Ye, the Recall Ye campaign in the spring of 2014. I was very proud to be on that because Senator Kimberly Ye actually blocked the medical marijuana funding so that we could not do the research with the funding that was actually available to use for medical marijuana research. She blocked this when it came to her committee, and it actually passed the House by an overwhelming vote of 52 to 5 votes. So we had 52 Arizona representatives in the House that voted yes on this funding, and it got to Kim Yee's desk and she said no. So we called that a block of democracy, and we stood up and we said absolutely not, and we answered back with that recall. Between the lawyers, they made some deals that we didn't all have control of, so unfortunately it dissolved, but we did make that statement, and I was very happy to do so. During that, we found that they are watching, so since we have your attention, we'd like to give you some good information. Some ask me why I care about veterans issues. I'm not a veteran myself, but I was raised in a military family, an Air Force family, so service was always held in high regard. As an activist, I know that our veterans are the ones that stood up for our freedom, and I couldn't speak out if it weren't for them, so I always thank them for their service, and I definitely have high regard for our veterans. I do consider myself a patriot, and I will always appreciate selfless service to this country. While I do appreciate the service of both Bill Montgomery and John McCain, I call upon them tonight to serve their fellow veterans, as well as the health and safety of all Arizonans, by opening their ears and their eyes to the many benefits that come from legal cannabis regulation. Tonight, I call upon you to be honest with your fellow veterans and uphold the oath you took to protect public safety. Sheriff Joe Arpaio joined us at our event last month in Sun City. One, to educate seniors about medical marijuana. Simply by showing up, he made a statement for honesty and truth. I understand our lawmakers and politicians are in a very difficult position with cannabis being so controversial. But when you see the good it can do and the lives that you can save, one cannot help but stand up. Sheriff Joe stood up. While he did not endorse legalization at that event, he did say 3 or 4 actually very important things. 1, that he has a big heart for veterans. He cares about how they feel and their health. 2, that he does support states' rights. And 3, that he believes medical marijuana is a medicine and should be available with a doctor's prescription like any other FDA-approved narcotic. 4th, he said that he was very proud of us for standing up for what we believe in. So we will always do that. He listens to reason and honest statistics. He recognizes that this drug war is just not working. He understands that legal FDA-approved opiates take a life every 20 minutes in America. He knows legal alcohol kills over 80,000 people a year. Which brings us to our first victim of the drug war. 22 veterans who take their own life every day, mainly because of alcohol or opiate overdose. The VA has been cited for overprescribing pharmaceutical cocktails really to our vets without any knowledge of the drug interactions. One compensated widow was quoted as saying her husband survived war but could not survive the VA. While Bill Montgomery and John McCain continue to discount marijuana use, many veterans testify that cannabis has saved their life. This is the Journal for the American Medical Association's report from 2014, and it states that any states that have a medical cannabis law have seen an opiate overdose decline, that folks aren't dying from opiate overdose in the states that have medical marijuana laws. The National Institutes of Health tell us that cannabis is 114 times safer than alcohol and other substances. National Cancer Institute tells us that you cannot overdose from this substance because it doesn't affect your brain stem like alcohol and opiates do. It's absolutely scientifically impossible to overdose from cannabis. All one needs to do is Google to find out the amazing and overwhelming scholarly evidence that cannabis is safer. I've delivered this evidence to Bill Montgomery. I haven't to John McCain yet. He's definitely on my list, but I didn't think I had to. When I found out the letter that one of my friends sent me, coming back from John McCain, discounting this medicine, I thought, well, we've got to include him in this little address as well. I'd just like to know, why are you standing in the way of veterans' freedom and their health and their safety? You are a fellow veteran yourself. Yes, we had a new bill passed to help vets access medical marijuana in legal states. But if it were up to Bill Montgomery and John McCain, veterans will continue to have to jump through these hoops and face discrimination for using this substance. When asked, these two give the standard answers. Maybe it helps some kids with seizures. I'll support it when the FDA approves it. Well, my friends, the FDA has approved OxyContin and other drugs that take a life every 20 minutes. So I don't so much trust the FDA. With veteran representatives like Bill Montgomery and especially John McCain, we should have zero problems with Arizona's veteran facilities, much less the tragedies that happen right here in our hometown VA. You guys should be working on solving problems instead of standing in the way of reasonable solutions. It's long past time we make cannabis legal for all and stop standing in the way of good health, peace, and a life-saving alternative. Once prohibitionists like Bill Montgomery stop the reefer madness information, more good people will find this medicine acceptable to use, and more people can begin to heal, both physically and mentally. There's no telling the health benefits that can be realized if folks stop standing in the way of progress and research. Many veterans die from alcohol abuse. Still more end up incarcerated from violence due to alcohol use. When cannabis becomes legal and available, alcohol use will subside. It's proven in other states that have these laws. Law-abiding vets will continue to turn to the more volatile and toxic substances as long as they are the ones that are legally available. It's long past time we regulate cannabis for the good of our vets and for the health and safety overall. Our bodies don't understand the law. They don't know if the medicine was received for medicinal use or for pleasure, like a beer or a whiskey cocktail. All we know is that when it's used properly and responsibly, cannabis makes us feel better. And we now know that we have a system in our bodies to receive this medicine called the endocannabinoid system. Just like your nervous system to receive medical or cannabis medicine. Bill Montgomery, you know this. I've taught you this. I bet John McCain knows it too. Don't stand on the side of the drug cartels and the street dealers. Stand on the side of Arizona veterans and otherwise law-abiding citizens that just want to choose a less toxic method of medicating and relaxing. And that's my statement. Now, at the conference, Sarah Holyhead from the Marijuana Policy Project reminded us of the tragedies that we are fighting against when we stand up against cannabis prohibition. which brought us back to 2011, when U.S. Marine, a man who served in Iraq, and father, Jose Carrena, was shot in his home when a North Tucson SWAT team entered his residence looking for some marijuana. On looking through other stories, I found this 94-year-old World War II veteran was charged with felony possession of marijuana for growing a few plants in his backyard. Douglas Floyd Ponishil, I hope I got his name right, was arrested in March of this year. Ponishil does not appear to have a lengthy criminal history. He's just got some traffic violations, and that's it. He served our country in World War II as a captain in the Merchant Marine and Naval Reserve, activated during the Korean conflict. He and his crew of 33 survived when the Germans torpedoed and tanked his ship off the coast of Haiti during World War II. The case was eventually dismissed, but who knows at what cost to his pocketbook and his health. And after all he did for us. He survived being bombed by a German warship, but had to be humiliated here at home because he used cannabis. On that note, I would like to welcome a great American, a veteran who's here to give his testimony tonight, Don Ream.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. I say that wherever we go and whatever we're doing, but I'm really honored. I'm proud to be here tonight. I'm proud to be your friend. I'm proud to be an endorser of MomForce. I tell people I feel like I'm a mom too. I'm a man on a mission. And my mission is with Kathy, and we educate people about cannabis, marijuana, how to use it as a medicine, how to get healthy. And the cat's out of the bag. The evidence is overwhelming that we teach. And it's really out of the bag. I'm almost ready to go public with my personal health records of all the drugs that I've been on and what I'm on now. I made my doctor put on my records that all I'm using is marijuana. I made it. And my wife is a retired nurse, and she said my health results every time I go to the doctor every 6 months are disgusting. My numbers are getting better and better because I'm using marijuana not just as a medicine, it's part of my life now. I thank God for my back pain that I qualified for this. So now as a veteran too, no more nightmares, no more Ambien, no more pain pills. It's all gone away. But I made some diets and health changes, and I chose life. I'm pro-life all the way across the board. But unfortunately, we all been created, we're all pro-choice. We all make our choices, what we put into our body. Our government likes to make them for us, especially for our veterans. And the crap that they're telling us, the veterans put in their body is killing them. It's a culture of death, and I hate it. It needs to stop. Enough is enough. I'm not the only one. I'm the only one crazy enough or squirrely enough to come out public and say it's bullshit. The drugs are poison. Another, and they talk about side effects. Yeah, another side effect. I got ridiculed by Wild Bill because I said I use marijuana recreationally. Normally in the evening when I have my cocktail now, sorry John McCain, I'm not buying your booze anymore, okay? The cat's out of the bag, and now I'm getting healthy. Your stuff's a depressant. They're putting the guns to the head. That number 22 is way low, too. That's deflated. I would challenge that. Lifestyle and choices, what people are eating. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've been with my friends. I've watched them pass. The shit needs to stop. I'm fed up. I feel blessed with my health, and it's hard to maintain a joyful spirit in this culture of fucking death. Excuse my French, one F-bomb. Good night, folks.
I think you deserve one F-bomb at least, sir.
I was a
Thank
sailor.
You. Thank you. Thank you, sir. He was a sailor, so
She
he
told me I'd
speaks
be a
like
sailor
one.
for the rest of my life, even when I said I had enough of this crap.
Well, I thank you for your service, sir. And do we have any other veterans that would like to share a story? We have a lovely woman here with us tonight who would like to talk about her dad, who was a veteran. And will everyone please welcome Elise Ash.
Thank you, Kathy. You know, I've been very fortunate. I am not a veteran myself. I'm a civilian, but I'm the granddaughter of an Army veteran. I am the daughter-in-law of an Army veteran. I'm the wife of a Navy veteran, and I am the child of a disabled Marine veteran who's now deceased. In July of 2014, my dad, Peter Diaferia, passed away from pancreatic cancer at the VA hospital in the Bronx, New York. When he died that morning after we paid our respects to him, they asked us to move down the hallway to an open area. He had been on the nursing care floor while he was getting some end-of-life treatment. And it was a nursing care floor, and as we had been there all week, because from diagnosis to death was 8 days. And so we had spent all 8 days there, my siblings and I. And what happened was they asked us, the staff said how unusual it was that we were there every day. And that was a very sad thing. They said families come when the veterans get their checks. And they come and they help them spend their money, and then they leave. And so us being there, the three of us all day, every day, was unusual. Well, as my dad had been laid to rest, we came back out into this main area. And all of the veterans on the floor, again, it was a nursing care floor, all gathered in this big open area that they had. They draped my father's body in an American flag, and they played taps. And as they wheeled his body towards me, I'm crying, as would be appropriate. And those veterans who could stand stood and saluted. And those veterans who couldn't stand sat in their wheelchairs, turned their wheelchairs around and saluted. And those veterans that were either high on whatever medication, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, or had traumatic brain injury, as I said, this was a nursing care floor, they turned and they looked at me, and one man asked his nurse, "Does she know him?" And the nurse said that was her father. And he saluted me. And I thought in that moment, because I have no pictures of this event, my cell phone had literally broken the night before, so I didn't have a phone. And I thought to myself, you can take the veterans out of the military, but you cannot take the military out of the veterans. And I was so moved by that. You know when something's just etched in your brain forever, and I was never more proud at that moment than I was of all the veterans, and God bless you for your service. I have the ability tonight to disagree with some of our politicians who, by the way, I'm a Republican and a conservative and a Christian, and I voted for. And I have the ability to disagree with their viewpoints on cannabis because of the service of all of our veterans, them included, and I thank them for their service. So I'm just very grateful that for all of you, so that I have the freedom to be up here tonight. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Elise. That was very wonderful. You know, this is the thing, is that there's a common thread amongst all veterans where they look out for each other. They salute each other. They salute their family members. There's a common respect. So that's what we're trying to implore tonight on Bill Montgomery and John McCain, to have that respect. To have that respect for your fellow vets. To understand that just because they use marijuana to medicate or to relax doesn't make them disrespectful. They're still one of you. We need to respect that. Is there anyone else who would like to speak tonight? Well, we have Michael Weiser here, State Director of Normal, that's going to join us with some political options. You know, because if folks don't see things our way and they don't